This is more about life in the time of the coronavirus epidemic. I was reading a book that was, in part, a small part, about a man, a journalist, a reporter, who had cancer. He said that all the talk among the physicians, nurses, and technicians was about fighting the cancer, fighting that battle, and beating the cancer. He said that he did nothing of the kind. He said he surrendered to the cancer and to his treatment for it, and also to his fate, which he said turned out to be good, but not because he was fighting and winning the battle against cancer. While he was ill, he pretended like crazy to be happy, and he pretended like crazy to be in control. And he did this very deliberately because he knew that if he thought about the seriousness of his illness, it would destroy what he called the infrastructure of denial that he had carefully installed. That was important, crucial, to avoid despair. After completing his first round of treatment during a checkup, when the doctor found a mass, which he was told the cancer may have returned, he fainted. I write all of this because the cancer reminds me of the coronavirus. It makes me laugh when I hear the politicians chant on about how they're going to beat the virus. The Panderman hammers away at that. And it is ludicrous, but they make it sound like a legitimate crusade. Like so many crusades, it is ill-conceived, cruel, and futile. And in your daily life, you have to go about your business and not dwell on the virus. If you get it, your first thought is, why me? And the next, what am I going to do? How bad is it going to be? And then I think you surrender. You plead for mercy, knowing the virus is not merciful. All it does, blindly, is replicate. We are on another little outing at a state park. It's a Tuesday, cold and rainy, late in October, and there are a lot of people here. We drove through the camping area, non-electric, meaning tents, and there was one group, the rest deserted. In the electric section, RVs lined up one after another, nearly filling every spot. We think the older people who can afford it are hitting the road, maintaining great distances. I can't help it. I think it's weird as shit to have everyone walking around this inn wearing a mask. We even encounter people deep in the woods, no one around for miles, and they're masked up. I feel like I'm in some cult horror movie. But everyone, including of course me, acts like it's nothing out of the ordinary. No big deal. The guy who wrote about his cancer also wrote about other people writing about what they called the end of the AIDS epidemic. He thought they were premature, and he quoted many doctors who preferred to be more cautious on that subject. But he understood that gay people, sick or not, were all desperate for any scrap of good news, any sign of hope, so a treatment showing promise could be elevated overnight into the silver bullet, the magic cure. This was in the 1990s. One more thing. This great hope was not available to all who needed it. It seems to me that the same is going to be true for COVID-19. People are so anxious to come out from under the gun, and that great pressure will also be the reason why some will be skeptical when a so-called vaccine or cure comes along. It's going to be like, I think, the outcome of the big election. Very eagerly awaited, very much disputed, very very bitterly accepted. However, I think it is true that the once always horribly fatal HIV is now something that people can live with for a long time. So the hope is there. I will say this in favor of the trumpet, although it will probably be a leading cause in his undoing. He is not a politician, and he is pleased to announce. And I bless him for that. In Washington, he is in there stomping on weasels. Politicians are people who have been ruined. They do not face reality. They play politics, and that makes them almost immune from the woes the people suffer. Politics can be a ferocious game, but it is only tangentially about what is going on, what the people need. And I mean really need, not the cheesy handouts and the soporific platitudes. The trumpet stood out because he was not a politician. He considered the media to be no more than pesky gnats. The Democrats hated him, and the Republicans tiptoed around him like he was nitroglycerin. Most of the time he got a big kick out of that. He'd crack a joke and the politicians would treat it as a serious comment, and he liked that too. In that way he was subversive, and people fed up with politics liked him for that. I know I did.